2026. This is Marlin Space. It's going to be short, but it's a little late. But here we are. Just covering for Marlin. He's in a bad area today. Good morning. This is Marlin. Feel free to fast forward until we get people in here, but here we go. Just getting started. Give it a minute. Julie. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I had a delay. Had to wait till it came over.
I get it. Yeah, I finally got a hold of Marlon. He's in a bad area, so my message didn't go through until now, and because he's in a bad area, he ain't doing it today. So here we are.
Oh, okay. Well, there's lots of good things going on. I'm just putting a couple things in the pill.
No worries. No worries. Good morning, Tinfoil.
Hello. I think we should band together, get a donation going, and get that man Starlink. Like, just once we get Starlink, just give me 15 minutes with his truck, and he'll have internet forever.
Boo! We don't like Starlink. No. No, I know he needs something. He needs a little hotspot, that works. Well, it's a slow start, a late start, and it's going to be a kind of a quick space. I've got a couple appointments and stuff going on, but I want to get something up here so we, continuously do this each day. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Yes. It's a nice kind of crappy here in New Jersey, but it's good that everybody's getting their stuff done, and I just want it to warm up already. My God, it's like I feel like it's gonna go right from winter to like dead hot summer, and it's like crazy. So
I'll refrain from when you said it's kind of crappy here in Jersey. I was like, yeah, you're in Jersey.
hey, now don't be picking on my state. No, I just whatchamacallit, woke up. It was rain. It was pouring last night, and then just woke up. It's still gray and gross out, so it's all right. I'm just, had 5 days of beautiful weather, so that's all. And you want to know what I thought was really quite interesting was that when we were in Key West, not once, and I mean not once, did I see a chemtrail. Pretty interesting.
Go figure, right? Where it's nice and sunny and people are happy and there's no chemtrail. Wow. Funny how that works. Yeah, my family in Hawaii, they were telling me they'd never seen so many chemtrails before all the crap dropped, and it's been storming there for over a month. It's crazy, right?
I think we should try to experiment with weather modification ourselves to see if we can counteract their weather modification.
Yeah, what do you think the Falkland Island War was all about?
Though I will say, knowing my luck, I'll probably create something that'll even scare myself, but might be worth a try.
Right. Yeah, let's continue talking about what people consider conspiracy theories. You know, because the more we talk about them, the more they get proved every day, right? So, like the whole COVID crap, there's a lot of stuff coming out regarding that. I don't know what you're posting in the thing. I haven't looked there, Julie, but what do you guys? What's on the top of the list as far as crap that's going on to distract us and talk about?
So Nancy Mace put out a post saying that at 2:00 in the morning, they just finished on the floor after passing 3 of the amendments to the Farm Bill. So I thought that this was pretty good since we're, doing all this stuff. And, you don't think about it, but like, the shrimp boaters and all those are farmers of the sea, and they also are being hamstrung. So the first bill that they did was they codified President Trump's executive order for the USDA Office of Seafood. And second, we unlocked the USDA agricultural programs for our commercial fishermen. South Carolina's shrimping and fishing economy is the backbone of our coastal heritage, and it's time for our farmers of the sea to receive the same backing as those on land. We will not allow substandard radioactive foreign imports to sink our domestic industry. And then lastly, they passed Violet's Law. It's an amendment to the bill. A nation is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable creatures. Healthy animals used in federal research deserve a home, not a death sentence. We are extending taxpayer-funded animal cruelty and ensuring God's creatures are retired with dignity. So that was pretty good to see those 3 bills, those 3 things that were done last night. They actually were doing their job, and it's nice to see that they are, making these people stay late. They're making enough money and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that was really good to see. So that's one of the things I put in. And then I was trying to get Donald Trump's truth he put up, and but we'll talk about that later. His truth was about Jerome Powell not wanting to leave because nobody else wants him. That's why he's staying on the board, even though he's going to be, I think, replaced May 19th. So anyway, but that's that. I thought that first one was really good about Nancy Mace with the 3 bills that were passed.
Well, the only thing I would say is when the wording I think you use is that they'll get the same benefits as or same care that we give farmers. Like that's not a good sign. They're crapping all over our farmers. So, but I get what you're saying. Anyway.
Well, yeah, they deserve everybody that does it, whether it be on land or on sea, deserves that same respect for what they do for us for the food, and that has to be all righted. That ship has to be righted. But it was just that those 3 things were done, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And if Marlon was in the space, I think that he would have appreciated that, being that he's a sea farmer.
Right. Good morning, Terry. Is your connection working today, bud?
Yes, sir. It is. It's been a little glitchy the last few days. Good morning, Miss Julie Tinfoil.
Good morning, Terry.
It's a beautiful day.
If y'all didn't notice, though, there's a lot of stuff going on the internet. There's a lot of hacking been going on. And so there's a heck of a lot of security updates on virtually everything. If you didn't notice, X, you updated it. There's an update yesterday, and then there was an update today. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people aren't realizing.
Good. Is Elon cleaning out the house more? What's going on?
Well, it's not just Elon. It's just the internet and in general. We have yet to see a real, hack happen to where it affects everybody, and it's happening. Y'all just don't know about it right now. But Mad Dog came up. What's going on, Mad Dog?
Hey, I just want to let you know I'm enjoying this space. This is my 3rd time in, and run truth. With that said, if everybody go down, like, share, and bookmark this space, get it out. Let's promote it. because there's good stuff that's spoken in here. And it's sunny and beautiful here in the great state of Oregon, communist Oregon, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Well, I'm glad you're up here. Unfortunately, all your praises for us in the beginning got shut out, and then we heard you finish up. But thank you. Whatever you said, I'm sure it was good. So thank you, Mad Dog, for being here. But I'm glad you're figuring out the community, and we try our best just to be as forthright, I guess, or just direct as we can, open to discussion, good discussion, not people yelling and all that kind of crap. So I'm glad you're here, bud. And anytime people want to sing praises, come on up and try running spaces. It's a pain in the ass. I'm just telling you. Anyway, good morning, Reg. What's going on, bud?
Hey, bud, you spoke good stuff, Jude. I just want to touch that real fast. You touched on what's going on online. Yeah, brother, this is where I was saying earlier. Sometimes I cut up a bit, but to get on a serious note, the devices is going to be the useful tool to play back on a lot of things. So so these phones has become the useful tool to stop and combat and trace and put timelines to a lot of stuff. Same with this idiot that did this to this young girl. You know what I'm saying? We never heard of this kid, but you have these youngsters and other elders using these devices and contacting, drawing things, discords, all the things that we talked about with the nefarious of these apps. So yes, stay tuned. So I told him earlier, keep talking and keep playing on the phones, keep pranking, but it's all metaphorically saying that this is the new combat wave. So information and collection fees and data. The new collection units are coming, but I'll land with that, brother. So you're right, spot on about the use of technology to combat some of this nefarious stuff that's been going on.
Oh yeah, Reg, you're absolutely right, man. It's a battle that people I don't think really understand what's going on because a lot of people aren't techie, right? And unfortunately, I'm one of those stupid tech nerd guys that write code and blah 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 whatever. But there's so much nefarious stuff going on, and we can only combat it by putting out as much good content as we can. But we have to be wary. I mean, all these especially these game apps that people download on their phones. Most of them are just so full of hacks and all kinds of stuff going on. And then our children, especially, even these children games, right? Some of these children games, man, they're just straight pedophiles trying to reach out and get a hold of your children. And people need to know how serious this stuff is, right, Red?
Amen, Doc. And I'll land with this. Same with this D4 kid, because now he's going to be used as a prime example of I call that the next new Charles Manson type theory. This Charles, because in essence, it was still dealing with mental and mind and taking advantage and pedophilia, because you're sitting in a closet, you're on Fortnite. Now, kudos to kids that play video games, and I understand that thing, but like we just said, there's that fine silver lining. You have to know when's and when not, because these devices is where they getting our children. Same with the dude set up Fortnite, put his music on there, and he was an overnight success. But now with the data of his phone, when they confiscated his phone, look at this sicko. This dude had, CP on it, and him and this young girl at 11 and 12, pictures. I can imagine the data, the sickness on this dude's phone and some of the stuff that he was texting her and women. So it's like, yeah, here it is, the pattern of what language. So it's all in crypto. So they're going to use this dude as the next new device. The next example of why these video games and falling for some of this sick psycho music, because he was basically, in essence, it's like the negative part of the Jimi Hendrix movement, if that makes sense, because they tapping these kids in and it's controlling. But when you do negative sounds and negative bites and frequent wavelengths, you're messing with youngsters that may not be equipped to handle all that stuff, like how these devices can draw us in. I have to be careful because it can be overwhelming. So imagine an 11 and 12-year-old little girl. Come on, man. But I land with that, True. You spot on, brother.
Yeah, man, it's a thing that I don't think people are really talking about enough to raise awareness. Tinfoil is really great at creating firewalls and helping people with that. In fact, Tin, we got to do that on our secret site that's coming up for everybody, but we got to give a bunch of I guess knowledge based things regarding that to help people with security. And I know it can get dang confusing. You know, a lot of people don't even really know how to get in and use the settings on their own damn devices. So we got to figure out a way to make it really easy for people to understand how to keep your devices secure, how to keep, more importantly, your children safe from all this nefarious crap. And by the way, Reg, I appreciate you supporting this space, even though our fearless fish, Marlon, ain't able to run this space today. He's out in boondocks somewhere, just not able to get this going, you know.
Amen. So I'm gonna tweet it out. I see Jules, you guys get back to. I'm gonna tweet this out and drop back down. You guys are cooking, man.
Hey, thanks, Reg. Appreciate it, man. Julie, you have a hand up. You're a co-host. Start talking.
Well, I'm trying not to be rude here. Anyway, guys, we have only 10 people that have reposted the space. Please go down to that purple bubble. Please repost the space for me. Please do that. Get it up on the algorithm. People come in later. People will listen to it later. So I appreciate that if you could do that for me. Thank you very much.
And then,
Kisses and hugs, Julie. You got it. I'm gonna drop back down. True. Okay.
no worries, man. You can stay up. We got plenty of mics, you know.
Amen. Oh, well, let me make a round two of some coffee. I'll be right back. This is a good topic. I want to continue on that. Let's go.
Yes, sir. I do too. I want to say hi to Nika. Thank you, Nika. Did you get your coffee yet?
I was just going to say somebody after my own heart there going on a second cup. Oh, goodness. Good morning, Truth, Julie, Mad Dogton, Terry. I see you down there. Jeannie just came up. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And good morning to everybody. I actually woke up late this morning. For the first time in years. I was like, holy crap, what's going on? But we appreciate everybody being here. And as Julie said, if you could please go down to the bubble and like and share the space out to get more people in here, we would appreciate it. Truth, I was watching for you this morning, but I got watching a video and got sidetracked. So I apologize for being a little late.
No, not at all. I was late starting it because I couldn't get a hold of Marlon to try to see if he was going to do it today, but he's in such a bad area. It took him a while to get back to me. So hence why we're here late. But we always say 9-ish. What's going on, Mad Dog?
Oh, I thought I saw Tinfoil's hat up. I was just going to say that if you bookmark the space as well, that helps with the algorithm getting it out. That was it.
You know, you're absolutely right. Tin, did you have your hand up and I didn't see it?
I just wanted to say good morning to Nika before Tinfoil talks. Good morning, Nika, dear. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, John. Nice for you guys to jump up here. Thank you very much. And hi, Terry.
X likes to hide me a lot. That's where my icon kind of come from. I always joke around that they throw me back in the network closet and I went up underneath the Ethernet switch and my hair tends to catch fire every time it touches the switch. So that's where my icon came from. So it kind of came like an inside joke. But speaking of firewalls and so forth, and security, actually I was just working on, as you guys were talking, finishing up the final pieces of a customer I've been working with. Small business. They do a lot of air conditioning type work, heating type work. And so they have to rely on their internet for their business to run. And they have what we call a two internet connections, a primary and a secondary. So the idea is if their first one goes down, they have a back one up to fail over to. So their internet can stay up hopefully all the time, so there's no downtime. Well, they have some remote users that connect through what we call a VPN, a virtual private network. so they can work within the office remotely. And they were having trouble with it because it was only on one internet circuit. Well, I just got done setting it up to where if it fails over to the secondary through a domain name, they can actually connect to their VPN regardless which circuit is up or which circuit is down. And I just put the final touches on, and I'm going to test it this evening. But this is the kind of work that I do is setting up stuff like that.
Well, for those of you who don't understand tinfoil, that's proven my point. We want to try to simplify and let people understand.
Hey, I had some breaking news here. I did not know this. Well, it must have happened early in the. But my boy David Allen Coe passed away. I did not know that. I love David Allen Coe. Sorry, I had to say that. I had breaking news.
Well, I'm not sure whose hands were up. I can't see it today for some reason.
Jeannie.
Good morning, everybody. I have to tell you, things are moving so fast and so much information that's out there. It's insane, especially when it comes to what's happening in the health. I'm calling it the medical freedom warriors area. We have such disdain for what's happening in our government. I'm starting to encourage people just to be done with our governmental institutions. And one of the things, I just keep posting and posting and posting and posting. What I have found on Facebook is the bots are coming out of the woodwork. I have people who are targeting me. So I'm assuming they're bots. When I look at their profiles, they're very small. Never heard of these people. I'm not connected to them in any way, whatever. And so how do we get around the? And I know that maybe Matthew has the answer, Tinfoil has the answer. How do we get around these technical barriers to getting the word out? I guess that's my question.
Well, that's a loaded answer with a loaded question. There's so many factors. I highly recommend. There's a lot of really cool kind of beginner videos, if you will, that give you an overview of how the internet actually works, how it started, blah blah blah. You got to have a kind of a foundational root, if you will. You got or a baseline to go by to understand how the internet works. Then once you kind of get that or grasp the concept of it and how these different what's that?
I would love that if we could have that. I don't know where.
Jeannie?
Lost you, Jeannie. Sorry, Jeannie, we can't hear you. If you can hear us, we can't hear you. We gotta try to drop you and come back up. Anyway, it's a simple search. Please don't
to your network, it's identified by the router, by colons or dashes. And when it connects to the router, it'll send a message to it saying, "Hey, here's my MAC address. Can you give me an IP address?" And an IP address is basically another layer for your router to be able to connect it to the network. Think of it as like your house address. And
Jen, really quick, we don't want. I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm hoping that people are following. Right?
Yeah.
To you, it's second nature. It's second nature to me as well. But I'm really trying to think. I'm just going to ask, well, because you're just getting started. Is everybody kind of following so far, or not? Because if you're not, just be honest. You're okay.
And guys in the audience too, don't be, as I say, don't be afraid to admit you're not following, because sometimes visual references are needed for this kind of explanation, because it sounds confusing at first. I'm going to admit it straight up. And it was confusing at first, but we all start from somewhere. And if you guys are not understanding it, please just say so, and we'll work on something to come up with something to make it easier to understand.
Yeah, look, Julie, thumbs down. So let me try it again. Same thing you said. I'll just say it in a different way. So your device that you're on the internet with now, Julie, or me, or Nika, or anybody, if it's a phone, whatever it is, it has its own personal ID, kind of like your social security number. So it can identify that device is owned by you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So we can call it MAC address, not like Macintosh. It's just a MAC address, even though. So that's what they give to your device. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So then when your device connects to the internet, it has an IP, or Internet Protocol address, that connects to your device. So you're kind of like layering up now. So that IP address is also unique to your router that you're using, giving you access to the internet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. See, 10, together we can slowly but surely get them. So when you're using the internet, that's how, if you've wondered how you're talking about something and all of a sudden you see an ad pop up of what you were talking about. You all had that experience, right? So your device, whatever applications or things you have on it, or whatever you use for your search engine, they basically embed and cache or record the things that you look for, the things that you say. So if you use things like Siri or whatever, it listens, and that should scare the crap out of you. So everything that you're saying, oh, Nika, your mic's up.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to know how if you don't mention it, you just think about it now and it starts popping up ads. I want to know how that works. And if all of us have little separate IP addresses, why is it so hard for them to catch these pedophiles?
Well, there's ways, like Tim was saying earlier, with VPN or virtual private networks. There's ways to layer or hide where you're originating from. Am I saying that right, Tins? I'm just trying to simplify it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you got it.
Yeah, I have VPNs and whatnot for work, and I know that they use like these, like the Tor sites and whatnot, but it just, I don't know. I feel like I still want to know how the things I think about start popping up in ads. That's more of my concern.
That I can explain a little bit too. So all the stuff that you do on your device will kind of produce a behavior pattern. And what they use these algorithms to monitor those patterns, and through use of cookies, which is like a little packet that sits on your device that can records the how would you explain that, Truth? A cookie? It's like a little packet gets left behind that kind of identifies a site that you go to.
Right. Just it kind of keeps a history, if you will, of everywhere you've been. So,
Yeah.
like he's saying, it's kind of recording all of these things that you do. And based on your behavioral patterns, they're making assumptions of, oh, she's probably going to need this at this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And through your surfing habits, like on Facebook, X, and many of the other platforms, your shopping habits, like on Amazon, they collect all that information. And then after a while, they can kind of guess your frequency of when you might need like a thing of milk, or when you might be in the mood to buy like a new electronic device, or and then use the algorithms to start kind of guessing your behavior to the point where you can think about something and all of a sudden your device is monitoring you, like your facial expressions, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they need this one because this is what we found out last time. And then all of a sudden you get these weird pop-ups where like, how the heck did they know? And it's through that kind of tracking that they do.
And that's right. I keep telling people data is the most valuable thing right now, more so than gold, any tangible asset. Data. It's scary, and that's where I think what, we should really do this more often. Talk about this stuff because it's imperative. But John's been patient. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Truth. Yeah, this is a very interesting conversation, and my conspiracy theory mind goes deep with that with regards to my phone listening to me. If I'm having a conversation with somebody and it's listening to me, then that goes to behavioral patterns and what I'm talking about with others, and how that relates to how ads pop up and what I'm looking at on my phone. If I'm going through my Facebook feed and I'm scrolling, and I just stop for a couple of seconds on one thing, it records that. It knows that I stopped there and I'm looking at a specific item, and that might relate to an ad that pops up. Yeah. So in what happens in my house, if I'm having a conversation with somebody, Alexa is listening to me. My own home system is listening, and so yeah, I think all of that kind of stuff relates to AI and how it interprets the algorithms and what kind of ads pop up on my feeds. And I'll drop it there.
Yeah, so this is why people have what they call a Faraday cage. Even if your device is turned off, it's actually technically still on. So if you put your devices after turning them off into a quote unquote Faraday cage, so it really can't connect, that's kind of your little safety net. There's a lot of people I know that go to those extremes. In my motorcycle club world, we go to those extremes when we have church, quote unquote. We all devices are turned off, put in a Faraday cage so that nobody can quote unquote listen. Go ahead, Dinful.
And so to kind of give an idea on, you guys know how your phone gets down to 0% and it shuts off on you. Well, when I was in search and rescue, we were talking to different law enforcement officers about what they can and can't do when it comes to pinging a phone. And I remember talking to a liaison contact that worked with the Indiana State Police. And he told me that they actually have a van that they can use to, if your phone's turned off with 0% and 0% battery life left, he says that battery's not truly dead yet. He said usually you have a 10% reserve that's left on that you don't know about, that they can actually remotely turn on your phone and ping your device. And they said that they don't have long to do it once it's turned on, because the pinging will actually drain it a lot quicker. But they actually have that ability. And that's when I kind of realized, like, oh, wow. I was like, the police have that ability. So there's no telling what they can really do with that device. And John, you're right about them listening. They actually will monitor your microphone and listen to your conversations. That's why you can have a conversation with another person, TV be off, and you guys are discussing like redoing the carpet, for example. And then you turn the conversation ends, you can hop on the computer, you start going to Home Depot, and all of a sudden you're getting carpet ads out of nowhere. It's because they were actually listening to your conversation through your device. It gets kind of weird. It really does. I've had conversations with my family about things, and all of a sudden I see ads for it, and we kind of chuckle a little bit. It's like, yeah, her phone's listening to us again, but it is kind of disturbing when you really think about it.
Well, most people don't read through. They just accept all the terms and conditions and privacy policies and all that crap. And when you read through them, if you can get through the legalese, because of course they use lots of legalese words to make you really not understand what the hell they're saying. But when you can actually, that's how you could actually take advantage of AI and say, hey, interpret this for me in plain English, please. I'd like to know what the hell this means. You kind of blow your mind at what you're giving them permission to do. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, spot on. And this whole conversation is reminding me of years ago. I went to Australia. I have a friend there, and I stayed with him for 2 weeks. And I had a rental car, and he told me, be careful, because there's cameras everywhere. The government's watching you everywhere you go, and monitoring your speed and what have you. And he told me that the cops have cameras built into their bumpers, on the front bumpers of their cars, the cop cars, and they'll go into a parking lot of a bar, and the cameras are taking photographs of all the license plates, all the tags of the vehicles in that parking lot. And then 2 hours later, that same patrol car will make another round, come through there, and take pictures again of the tags. And the computer recognizes which vehicles have been in there for 2 hours or more. And then later on in the evening, when that patrol car is out on the highway or on the streets, the computer and the cameras are looking for those vehicles. And if they spot one, it pops up on the computer screen, and the cop can pull that vehicle over for a sobriety check. And that's classic AI, computers, Big Brother, government controlling our lives. And that's just one small inkling of what Australia is all about, as far as Big Brother monitoring your every move. I'll drop it there.
Yeah, it's a. You can see why certain people just get super paranoid when they start to understand how all of this stuff works. It's like I said, my MC world. Whenever we do church, all of our motorcycles are brought inside so that there's no plates to be read. Or we have a prospect that's covering all that stuff. There's a whole slew of stuff with that. So anyway, interesting way to start our day, talking about all this tech that we're actually on right now. And hey, guess what? They're listening. So hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, I was wondering, uh, everyone in the room driving around, when you guys going to and home from work or going shopping, have you guys started noticing these little like cameras on the side of the road with solar panels? They're often either black or brown, and you might see them only facing one way. They're known as the flock cameras. And I've been looking into those, and that's a whole nother level of, well, things that make me uncomfortable. Knowing that they can track your license plate, and they often say that, well, you don't have the, was it something about privacy in public? And I'm like, it's not where privacy is what I worry about. I just don't want to be tracked. I'm not committing crimes. I'm not doing anything illegal. I just don't want to be tracked. It's like, I'm an adult. I can do, I can handle my own affairs. I don't need a parent to watch over me. But I was wondering if anyone else has seen them in their neighborhoods.
Yeah, there's legislation actually about that to turn that around, because yes, they are using those flock quote unquote cameras that they're saying they're tracking migrating birds, which is horse shit. But yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms that we're opening up. But it's a good one to talk about there, Tin. I think the only hand I see, you guys, is Miles. Is that right?
Yep.
Go ahead, Miles.
Good morning, everyone. I think I came home too early from Texas. It's freezing up here, but I'm not going back. So the main question is, why are they doing this? What's their main goal? Because it's not going to stop. So I have my own theory about why they're doing it and what their goal is. So it's about RICO. It's about crime. And tinfoil, they're not going to bother you. Now, you're right. Everyone's paranoid about this, and they have good reason to be paranoid. But I believe if you get the right people in there, which that's the process that we're going through right now, is to make sure that we don't have, a select group of people from Brussels that are controlling us, that we have good people, and that's the spiritual battle that we're in. People with morals, people that do the right thing, that want to stop RICO and organized crime. It's not about the small stuff, but that's just my theory. I'd like to hear some other opinions on it.
Well, okay. The easiest other opinion is you won't always have good people. So when it goes into nefarious hands, or even if you do have good people, bad people have access to it. That's the internet is so easy to hack. People, I don't know if people really realize that it's very easy to hack into virtually anything out there. And so knowing that, that's why a lot of, agencies and whatnot have their intranet. It's only at the agency, and they're not connected to the internet, which is accessible worldwide, whoever's connected. But even those setups, some idiot connects to the internet. Even once it opens it up. This is man. I think I opened up a can of worms, and it's fine. Who was first, John or Tim?
John.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Truth. Yeah, Miles, in my opinion, the RICO statutes are not being used enough as far as the waste, fraud, and abuse in our government, and with regards to these NGOs and the money laundering, what have you. That they really need to ramp up on the RICO with that. And as far as what I was saying before about Big Brother, one of the things I was thinking about as far as babies, newborn babies, they take their footprint as they're born to make sure that the right baby with the right mother is walking out that door. And I thought to myself, with the advances with DNA in a legal format, that would it be a good idea to take a DNA sample from every baby, and that gets put on file so that 20, 30 years later, that baby becomes a serial killer or a serial rapist. Boom, they got him. And I've said that to a few friends, and the pushback that I've gotten on that, as far as what the government could possibly do with that DNA, on file, beyond what I just described. And then I thought, yeah, right, good point. So there are things that can be good, and then there could be the bad, as far as what Big Brother can do with certain information. And I'll drop it there.
Well, I mean, that comes down to, again, constitutionally and all of our rights given by God and absolute freedom and sovereignty. You can't have sovereignty if everybody's tracking every move you make. And now, again, I get it. The argument can be, well, if somebody's, a good citizen, they're not worried about it. I agree with that. But at the same token, you should have anonymity. You should be able to do what you want when you want to do it. Again, though, when we have criminals and crooks and nefarious characters, yeah, we want to catch them. So that's the catch 22, right? It's like, well, we want to abide by the law. We are abiding by the law. Why are you watching me? You know what I mean? So that this is where it just kind of goes back and forth. Miles, did you want to respond? Then we'll get to Tin and Reg.
Yeah, real quick. So the DNA thing, when you said that, my mind went to Epstein. That's what he was doing. He was collecting certain DNA. He wanted to make a superhuman. So, yeah, a lot of people think it was all about, sexual thing. No, it was more about making superhumans. And I think that they're working on those projects to advance humanity in certain ways. I mean, do you guys remember the guy that got the Medal of Honor? I think at the State of the Union address. Remember that soldier? Not the old one, the young one. Look at that guy again. That's a super soldier. He was genetically enhanced, so that's what I think. That we have those people already out there. So
Well, also look at all these like ancestry.com, always encouraging you to, hey, test your family ancestry, send us a DNA sample. And people have been falling for that for a long time. Yeah, the curiosity, you know, hey, curiosity killed the cat, right? Like, oh yeah, I'd like to know who my ancestors were. And here, take my DNA. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tim. We'll get you, Reg.
And I just want to respond to Miles. Miles, I understand the police won't, come after me per se, and I get most of our officers are pretty good on that front too, and those are the ones I'm not really worried about. It's the people who are I'm trying to think how to say it. I'll call them the narcissist or the Karens and the Chads, like from the HOAs and the ones that can't seem to leave other people alone for whatever reason that possesses them to start going after people through lawfare. HOA
tinfoil.
president, yeah.
They're being monitored too. It's not like they get a pass.
I get that. But it's that wanting to be just left alone and be able to live my life in peace and quiet. And when you start putting these devices up and saying it's for safety, well, pretty soon you'll have those people get into power that will start messing with people. It's just a matter of time. And eventually we get to the point where you'll hear phrases like, and truth, you're going to laugh, you'll hear phrases like resistance is futile. It's just the way nefarious people, or not nefarious, narcissistic people are. Narcissists want power. And after what we've seen in COVID, I'll be honest with you, dude, I want to get out of the city. I want to go to the rural area, put neighbors as a mile away from me as possible, and set up fort there, because I never seen so many people who want to control others since COVID. And that's what's made me the way that I am, I guess, if that makes sense.
There'll be communities like that. They're not going to restrict certain communities. You have the Amish.
Absolutely not, Miles. Absolutely. Thank you, Miles. And if I may, real fast, I got to get to work. Miles, you on the super soldier real fast. What we know about genetic splicing, because you look for the best specimens in prisons and military. So when these creeps started genetically splicing us California inmates and taking our genetics and see how do we come on supreme with super soldierism, this is when they started grafting and crafting us and putting guys in military. Meaning, I said it earlier, Operation Desert Storm. I'm going to play metaphor. I'm going to get out of here. This is metaphor. Tim, don't worry. Tell them you know B knows and you got an army. They'll leave you alone. But see, they go after the vulnerable with information. If you don't got no backing and no bone with it, they'll come get you. See, they're not going to come get me because they know I got a street sweeper and I'll blow you to the smithereens, okay? Because we're taught how to ultimate warrior and be a super soldier in California. It may sound stupid, but what happens when paramilitary groups and training and boot camp and exercising and coming with data and information, we're ready. Come on, hear ye, come on, come on. Generation X is not scared of freaking nothing. Our dads, our uncles, we were raised by Sergeant Slaughter, boot camps, push you, get in your face, spit down, who you calling, shut your pie hole type men. Now, what happens was through genetically, music's toot-toot, boo-boo, hoo-hoo, and toot-toot-toot-toot, men became tutus. I'm not saying no one in particular. I'm speaking of when I saw you either had to be a man or a mouse, or you like cheese, or you go sat with the hissies. Now, what I'm getting at is kudos to those that couldn't fight like Reg. I'll fight for you. What's the difference? I don't knock. Now we're talking to science. When kids got picked on for not being for not being tough, we took up. Now back to this Epstein. All these guys, they were tapping into this knowledge from Cheap Dopra, the guru in India. We was telling folks about mentalism and mind control of doing your thoughts and your emotions. We learned this stuff in the system. So when they start saying, how can one function under these so-called systems, they create super systems, world structures, and things of that nature. Now, Relic Hunter, go back to Desert Storm. When they took down Saddam, one of my partners, he said he was a gang member. He went to the military. Now he's delivering mail in the valley in California. I'm like, yeah, you get that job. Well, he was a military, but he's crazy. This is what he told me. A lot of his friends is on meds. They tapping out. This is where all that money Obama gave to DACA was supposed to go to our soldiers that did supreme clandestine jobs for our government. What are you talking about, Reggie? Well, relics. They took the relics from Saddam. They took a lot of those stargates. This dude had ancient Assyrian, Babylonian cuneiform texts that know how to make nuclear biochemicals because Iran, Iraq was the paradigm in 84. And who said tear down the wall? Reagan. And you also had a movie. Stay with me, because Hollywood, they like to put these movies and show you, but we be missing it. Rocky IV. They had us scared of Russia. But when you see Drago, the supreme athlete, they putting chemicals in him. He's hitting the bag. And then you saw the coming together of the red and the wall, right? You saw it. It just shows us in movies because it made me love Russia. Hulk Hogan, all these guys was USA, the chant. So it was a pantheon paradigm of energy that they knew that we as Generation X understand it, brother. That's why shit comes so easy, because they couldn't get Reggie. I was a survivor of matrons and all those systems because I didn't take your drugs. Give it to Reggie. He likes it. No, I won't. He won't try it. No, he's not taking Thorazine because Thorazine was one who flew over the cuckoo's nest. This is nodding, nodites. So I called the nods. So I saw the revenge of the nerds, the kids that was in the 80s tapping into technology. We had a best time, man. And I just would land with this because I know I'm overwhelmed. I get it. I talk too much. I'm flooded with data. That's why I am not afraid of these people. I live in LA. So that's why the magic comes easy off the tongue of my mouth, because we never go Hollywood. We saw this industry fold, bro, behind us stopping pedophilia, have an administration who has a military. One thing, you have to have an army to protect your wealth. When they know that you just got all this information and you don't got the soldiers of God, because again, it's all ordained in moral compass. Anybody know about moral compass is me going through the judicial system. The Magi will tell you, and magistration will tell you where we at. And one thing Trump understood when they took him through the courts, he understood magistration. So he got to straighten out the courts. We about to have Alcatraz. Okay, watch this. When you get sentenced to Alcatraz, that's not by state. That's by military trap. Boom. We're going back to JAG. People just got to be patient. He's trying to put righteous people in things so we can hold people in military court and sentence your ass to an island called Guantanamo Bay, Guantanamo Bay. Hey, I'm shut up, man, because I give up too many touchdowns and first downs, and they be like, shut up, Reggie. So the Burns crew warned me. Truth, it's been fun.
I love it. And believe me, I have seen it. I do. I hope other people do too. And yeah, Hollywood, man, Hollyweird, Holly whatever, all the stuff that comes out, you got to watch it and with a grain of salt. Our disclosure is part of the whole trip of Hollywood. But you wonder how these B movies get made with huge budgets of money, and it goes straight to video and everything. It's just all part of disclosure. The thing about law is, even though most people don't follow the law, the big thing about disclosure, as long as you disclose it, then you can't be held accountable technically. So there's a lot of films in Hollywood that nobody ever sees, but it's, you know, it's there. Like, hey, we told you it's there. What, you didn't believe it? So anyway, I appreciate you, Reg. Thanks for coming up. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Reggie's gone, and I'm sorry that he left because I want to compliment him. I've heard Reggie in other spaces, and it's always funny because he'll say, real quick, lightning fast, I'm landing my plane on this one," and then he just keeps going and going and going. But I enjoy it. You know, some others I'm like, "Will you land your plane already?" But Reggie, no, the stuff that he says, I enjoy the hell and the passion in his voice is just thrilling. I love listening to that guy. So I'll drop it there.
Yeah, yeah, this is good. So Nika, I think your mic is open.
Yeah, no, the whole talk about them taking DNA from children at birth, guys, go back to Ben Franklin's quote regarding liberty. I put it down in the bill because people tend to forget, if you're willing to give up your liberty for a little bit of safety, most likely temporary safety, because let's face it, they're going to use it against you one way or another, deserve neither. And I'm sorry, but I will not give up my liberty for a little bit of safety. I can protect myself and my family. I'm fine with that. I do not need them to do that for me. That is not the job of the government.
Good thoughts, like Dog, and then John again.
Yeah, you're bringing up the liberty, giving up the liberty with the vote on the FISA. I just would like to hear what other people in this room had to say about it. I'm split. I realize that our rights have been infringed upon by the initiation of it, and especially the J6, and everything that's happened with that going into, our private stuff without warrant. However, Trump has asked for 18 months, and I think they're looking at 3 years extension of it. And I understand why he wants it, and I want it for that same reason. However, I don't want it. I'm split, and I just like to hear other people's opinions on that.
Oh, for sure, I agree. Let's hear from John. Maybe he'll respond.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it goes so further back to the beginning, and in my opinion, the beginning is 9/11, which sparked all the FISA stuff and the Homeland Security stuff and the paranoia and what have you. So, yeah, I mean, and as far as Benjamin Franklin goes, another favorite quote of mine is of Benjamin Franklin. He was asked, "Are we a monarchy or a republic?" His answer was, "A republic if you can keep it." Okay. Our founding fathers knew. They had done the deep dive study on all previous democracies and republics prior to ours, how they had risen and how they had fallen. And they say a democracy / republic will last roughly 250 years. We're there. We're right at the 250 mark right now. So, all of this stuff is now, accumulating and building up to, a possible fall of our constitutional republic, where people are now, our younger generations are now saying, questioning, all these problems that we're having with our government and the government becoming too much, too strong and too big and what have you, Big Brother and what have you. And they're questioning now, I feel it, they're questioning, maybe this Marxism, socialism, communism thing isn't such a bad idea. Let's try that, and it's scary. And I'll drop it there.
Having connection issues because I'm getting ready to jump in the truck.
Oh, no problem. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about what Mr. John was talking about after 9/11, when they hit us pretty hard and we lost thousands of Americans. And I remember how everyone came together and you couldn't even.
I'm going to, if
Can you hear me?
want to let it sit out.
Yeah, somebody else has got their
Truth,
mic open.
your mic. Thank you. Go ahead.
Test 1, 2, 3. How am I coming in, Julie?
You're good. My bad.
Sound
Sorry, go ahead.
good.
What I was going to say is it seemed after 9/11, people were like kind of like, well, you know, if the government wants to go through my phone records or listen to my conversation and it helps us get those terrorists, I don't have anything to hide. Sure, why not? Well, I think we should have fought harder. I think we should have pushed back and said, you know, no, I don't want to give up my Fourth Amendment right. I don't want you listening to my phone conversations. I don't want you going through my, you know, correspondence or whatever. I think we should have pushed back harder because when it seems like when you give up your right or when you're willing to compromise a right, they take advantage of it and they use it for nefarious purposes. That's my 2 cents.
Every single time, Terry. Every single time. When this conversation, when they first start, when people started talking about them taking DNA at birth and all that, my very first thought was the Patriot Act. I'm sorry, but that was the start of our downfall, like when it comes to our personal privacy. So I'm with you. I don't feel like it is the government's job to protect us in that way. I understand that it can help in some other ways, and a lot of people are like, well, I'm not a criminal, so what does it matter? This is why it matters, because 25 years later, look at where we are, and it's going to get worse. I personally don't like the whole FISA being extended. I understand why he wants to do it, but I also understand that there are a lot of people that are going to be willing to use that for nefarious reasons. And if we lose the midterms, where is that going to go? I watched what happened to the J6ers. I'm sorry, but I do not agree with extending it in any way, shape, or form. Mad Dog, I thought you had your hand up, but I don't see it now. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in there or let John go.
Oh, I was just going to say that the government, you know, once they get anything, they don't want to give it up. That's like with taxes. They say this is a temporary tax, and you vote yes because of what they say, and they extend it and increase it, and it never goes away. And I love what the downsizing of the government that Trump is doing. I hope it continues. And we got to pass the Save America Act. We got to get on board with our voices and everything. And Rattle Thune, it doesn't seem to have any effect with him, but we got to keep up the pressure.
Agreed. Sorry, guys. I get very passionate about personal privacy and protection. So I apologize if I'm coming across this being like, this is a pet peeve of mine that people give up their personal, freedoms for a little bit of temporary safety, and it is temporary because they are going to use it against you, even if you are not a criminal. I'm sorry, but so I apologize if I'm offending anybody. I'm very passionate about this subject. Go ahead, John.
No need to apologize. No, and I'm totally on board with everything you're saying. What I want to throw into the mix here in this conversation of where we're at right now in this conversation is government tyranny, our Constitution, enemies, both foreign and domestic, Second Amendment. Okay, as far as our Second Amendment goes, what kind of unnerves me a little, and as far as domestic enemies, is what the 4 years of Biden did with the open door policy of all those young, fit men that poured over our border. They're enjoying the same Second Amendment rights that we are. That's scary. Okay, when you want to talk about sleeper cells and all that crap that poured over our border, that is enjoying the same Second Amendment right of our Constitution that we are enjoying, and the attack from within, domestic enemies. Wow, and I'll drop it there.
Agreed, but would you be willing to give that up so that they didn't have that right? Because I'm not. Actually, I did. Go ahead. You can respond.
No, and I agree. No, I'm with you on that. That wasn't the intent of what I said. I'm just saying that catch 22, but between a rock and a hard place. As far as what's on our soil right now, and enjoying the same rights that we are. It's crazy, and I'll drop it there.
So, for those that don't know, the president and the DOJ have recently made some major changes to the Second Amendment rights. I will drop a article that just came out this morning down in the Pill if anybody's interested in seeing the 34 different changes that are all in our favor, by the way, to our Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, I just was looking at that this morning because his administration, the newly confirmed director of the ATF, views the Second Amendment as nothing other than the most important amendments of our Constitution. It's not a second-class amendment, and so these regulations that we're adjusting today reflect these policies. That's the ones you're going to put in the purple pill. So that is a big deal that they finally were able to codify one of Trump's picks again. So that's Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Juliet. Not that I want to turn this into a Second Amendment discussion, but while we're on that, if you ever want to see a great debate on the Second Amendment and gun control, it's between Jerry Nadler and Chip Roy on a congressional hearing on gun control. And Nadler at one point said to Chip Roy, "Do you mean to tell me you think it's perfectly okay for our citizens to fire on our military?" And Chip Roy's reply was something I had never heard before, and a take on a Second Amendment that I thought was spot on and was awesome. He said that we had the newly freed slaves, the Second Amendment gave the newly freed slaves the ability to protect themselves against government tyranny. And it also gave the anti-slavery whites, the abolitionists back then, the ability to protect themselves against government tyranny. And the camera went back to Nadler's face, and he just turned stone cold white because, in my opinion, that if it's the left's assertion that white supremacy is the biggest threat we face today, yet you want to take away the ability for minorities to protect themselves against white supremacy. And I just thought that was like a perfect boxing into the corner on Nadler. I'll drop it there.
Well, I like that you said that, John, because also speaking about a lot of these people that have been put into Trump's administration, like we saw this with oh gosh, I can't think of his name now, who was just up on Capitol Hill the other day talking about the EPA director Lee Zeldin, when they have all their research and they have all their stuff with them, and they talk about the Constitution. These politicians don't know anything. They're the first ones to scream, "Oh, they're against the Constitution. They're not following Constitution." Blah blah blah. But then when they're called out on it, they don't know. They don't even know what they're talking about. Like they don't even know what the real Constitution is. So I'm glad that you said that because. I was just thinking about that with Lee Zeldin when he went after that purple-haired freak there, whatever her name is, and she just had no answers for him other than to scream back at him because he had all the evidence right in front of him, and he was reading it right off the thing, and he was like, "You don't know this law, you don't know this law." And she just, couldn't answer him, so she had to just scream because that's what they do. Go ahead, Terry.
But she also referred to our country as a democracy, which again is further proof. No, you haven't read the Constitution, you idiot. So turn on that.
That's like World War XI, right?
World War XI, that was great.
I saw that. What a moron.
They're trolling her like crazy with that, guys. It's hysterical if you haven't seen them.
I don't know what we're talking about. It's Ilhan Omar, freaking traitor, illegal alien in our Congress. It's unbelievable. Anyway. You guys,
Yeah, in my best, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Let me see here how I can do this. Yeah, that Ilhan Omar. If she's the watermark for Somalians, we need to drain the pool with that one. If it was raining brains, she would be holding an umbrella. If that woman had 2 brain cells, they both would be competing for third place. That one. I mean, Kennedy cracks me up, and your representative Tim Burchett cracks me up. Those 2 guys, I like those 2 guys because when you listen to these politicians, you don't really, they talk in attorney talk, and we're those 2. But yeah, Elon Omar said World War XI, and I about fell off my couch on that one. But anyway,
Guess she doesn't know what Roman numerals are.
Is well, anything. Most of these people in Congress, the unfortunate truth is they really don't know. They don't know. They just like honestly don't know that this country is a constitutional republic. That should scare the crap out of people. It's proof, for one, they haven't read the Constitution, but they swore an oath, supposedly, to uphold and defend it. That should be kind of a required thing that if you are in Congress, they should actually test them. Test them on the Constitution. Even knowing the Bill of Rights, they should know that like the back of that should be just a given, right? But here we are.
right, and it seems like they're always reaching into their junk drawer to pull out their Constitution of the United States to drive a point that serves their purpose in their talking point. When on the other hand, we see them constantly undermining the Constitution, never missing an opportunity to try to destroy it for their purpose, which is total control over us, from the toothpaste we use to the toilet paper. They
Well,
want to.
not one person in Congress during the invasion that the Biden administration allowed and was behind and made happen, not one person in all of Congress brought up the one of the few powers given to the government in Article 4, Section 4. And read it. I double dog dare you, read it. It's in plain black and white, to where one of the few jobs our government has and authorities is protecting our borders. And not one person brought it up, and 535 members between the House and the Senate. That still to this day irks me more than anything. Hopefully the connection's all right. I'm driving, but I've got my handy little personal Wi-Fi device, so hope you all are getting it all right.
It sounds okay. It sounds good. Just let us know if there's a problem or whatever. But yeah, no, everything sounds so good so far. And Mikey has jumped on up. Hi, Mikey.
More and to hell with 11 Han. Oh, that's what we're calling her now. 11 Han.
11 Han Solo.
Can you imagine how much she freaked out when she found out that there were 111 King Charles coming to the Capitol?
Yeah, the no kings people standing in ovation, but couldn't stand for the loss of Irina. The mother couldn't stand for a child with cancer. Won't stand for that, but they're protesting against no kings, but they're kissing his ass and standing up, applauding. Come on.
Yeah, make sure you mark yourself safe 3 through 11, just to be sure.
That's a good one, Mikey.
Can't even drink my coffee, you guys. You got me laughing too much. I'm still stuck on Julian, the purple-haired freak.
Deloro, that worthless piece of bag of bones.
Well, you got a couple hands. I'm not sure who's first. I'm trying to drive safely, so help me out there.
Let's do Jeannie. She got cut off before anyway, and then we'll go to John if that's okay.
Ladies first.
Yeah, I just wanted to, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm going to have to stay with my old phone because the new phone just mucks up all the time. The visit from King Charles. Let's talk about that just a little bit because one of my favorite group of gals to listen to is the Prometheus Action Ladies, and they have been following the British economic rule over the world and their manipulative behavior since Kennedy was shot. And they are just phenomenal historians, and they will tell you what's happening today and how it fits into this huge puzzle. And it's much too complicated for me to explain it. But long story short, the reason why King Charles came here to see Trump was to lick his boots. He's trying to play buddy buddy to try and keep, he's like the last ditch effort on trying to keep the control of what Britain has been doing forever. So it's fascinating. The more people who listen to Prometheus Action and listen to how they explain what's happened over the last umpteen years to explain all the different moving components, we realize that we've been in war with Britain since day one and it's never stopped. And Trump knows that. So when they get on the mainstream media and they're best friends and the pomp and circumstance and my mother thought you were so cute. It's all bullshit. So anyway, and they actually have a book that they wrote, how something to the effect of how Britain kills our presidents, or why Britain kills our presidents. So I just think they're fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of value to it. You look at the real history of the Civil War, and the lies that were told, and it's all about slavery. Sorry, wasn't really. It's actually the walkout that happened in Congress was over the fact that the members of Congress, were still loyal to the crown, and they said that we owed them money for them losing the war and all the ships and all that kind of stuff. And the true American patriot said, "Hell no, you're not getting a dime. You lost. Deal with it." And look back to real history, and yes, the crown essentially won because they've kept control of money, the banking systems, all this kind of crap. Do a deep dive yourself, and don't count on freaking Google for your information, because you're not going to find it. They suppress all that kind of stuff and the facts. Just go to an old library. Hopefully you got a good library that actually has some old books, and look through it and read the congressional records, and you'll be surprised what you find.
Hey, really quick, I just don't want to have to drop anybody down, but if you don't really want to speak at this point in time, if you could drop yourselves, we still have requests that want to come up here and talk. So I would appreciate that. Otherwise, I am going to have to rotate speakers. Nika, did you pay attention? I think it was. We'll go with Jared since he's in. We'll let Jared speak. Go ahead, Jared.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. I'm in the middle of my coffee that almost just spilled on my as I was at the stoplight. It just had a little coffee on my little legs this morning. Have you guys seen? It's a beautiful morning here in Virginia, you guys. It's a great morning here. The sun is great. The feeling is great. The coffee is just the right temperature. Have you guys seen the news this morning? The shakeup in Maine this morning. Have you guys seen that?
Yep. She, Janet Mills dropped because she's not having the funds, which is a big deal. We talk about it all the time that these people that are running for these positions shouldn't have to put up that kind of money to run for a position in government, but that is what they have done with this country. They're allowing people, making people put up big money just to be into the race, to get your name on the ballot, and it's not a good thing. If you're running, you should run. If you have good policies you want to run on, then you should be able to do that. It shouldn't be dictated on your wallet and how much money you have.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's a that's a long history thing. So you're right. So yep. So Janet Mills, she dropped out. Governor Janet Mills of Maine. She said obviously it was because of the money. But I mean, this is a win for Democrats, right? I mean, objectively, for right now, this gives Democrats to consolidate their power around Graham Plattner. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm not too knowledgeable on Maine politics. Obviously, they do have ranked choice voting there. But Graham Plattner, he has a lot of baggage himself. Anywhere from his tattoos to obviously, many people perceived him being a Nazi sympathizer a few years ago. But this is great news because, obviously Democrats don't have to fight. And this gives them to, obviously to spend their political capital on Susan Collins, who is not popular in her state, who is not popular in the Republican base. But, she's obviously one of those Republicans where Republicans are like, I don't like Susan Collins, but I want to keep her in Maine because at the end of the day, if there is any Republican that can win Maine, it's going to be Susan Collins. It's you can't get a MAGA sycophant to obviously win the state of Maine. So I thought that was very interesting. A flawless victory for Graham Plattner. If the polls are right, it shows that Graham Plattner can go to Washington. And that is like no one was thinking that just a few months ago. And, the word on the street right now is, obviously Democrats think that they somehow can win the House. Obviously, the Senate, even looking at Polymarket, it says like 53% chance. But with this news today, I think this gives Chuck Schumer, by the way, he was not for Graham Plattner. Right. If you ask mainstream Democrats, they're running from Graham Plattner. Now they have to, endorse him. Even Lindsey Graham came out today and said, he's obviously for Susan Collins. So it's going to be very interesting to see that shakeup in the state of Maine. I know there's some people trying to obviously get rid of ranked choice voting as well. So I just wanted to share that news with you guys. We'll see what happens there.
Jared, I think that's a good point you brought up, especially about the front runner now for the Democratic Party for Maine that is running for the Senate. Meanwhile, they call MAGA, they call anybody that's on the right Hitler. They call him Hitler. This guy actually has a Nazi tattoo. It is well documented. So now, what are you going to do if he does win? And then are you going to still call the right Nazis? I know, Jared, I know you very well. I know you come up here. I know what side that you're on, and that's good. And that's fine because we can have healthy debate. But I'm just saying, don't be hypocritical because here is this. If this guy does win, okay, then what are you going to do? That you can't have it both ways. So thank you very much for sharing. But we do have a few hands, so
I agree with you there. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there on that. Right, I think he has a lot of baggage. He has a lot of explaining to do, even if there is a debate that comes up. I will say though, we're seeing something different. Right, you're starting to see Democrats. They're putting the Hassan Pikers right in the world, and they're starting to say, we're going to fight fire with fire. If you guys have a former past of berating women or being male chauvinists, okay, we welcome that in the Democrat Party as well. So I think this is the Democrat Party saying, we want to go more left. We want to go, we're going to put, we're not going to put our establishment picks on anymore, right? We're going to put people like, the Democrat of Joe Rogan of what we're seeing like Hassan Piker. So I agree with you, but Graham Plattner, I mean, he has enough money, I think, to win this. And Susan Collins, right? She has questions she has to answer on the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is something that Susan Collins is not for. And according to Scott Pressler, there were some remarks earlier this week. John Thune, a Republican, heard John Thune say, Tim Burchett heard John Thune say that the SAVE Act is dead on arrival. That is from the leader of the Republican Senate, John Thune. Oh my goodness. So it just makes you think, are all of these, there's actually good MAGA people who are actually trying to do God's work, right? And actually trying to do what they think is right. And you have the leader, John Thune, saying, nope, it's dead on arrival. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate the honest dialogue, and I hope you guys have a great weekend because it's almost Friday.
Thank you, Jared.
King Julie. Um, the Nazis were defeated, so let's get that out of the way. Calling somebody a Nazi is just so stupid, and we hear it mostly from the left, referring to Republicans as such. But the irony here is Nazi Germany, the Nazis were socialists. And so Democrats going around calling themselves Democrat socialists are the essentially Nazis. So stop with this, oh, he's a Nazi sympathizer. It's just such horse shit. Sorry, just had to throw it in there. Go ahead, whoever's next.
No, thank you, Truth. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jared. Okay, John, you're up.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Truth. Thank you, Nika. Truth, you brought up the Constitution and the Bill of Rights before. I dropped a video down in the purple pill there. It's past Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who I loved. God rest his soul, he has since passed. It's about our Constitution and how our Constitution compares to others in the Western Hemisphere, and also Russia's Constitution. Okay, and back to my favorite quote of Benjamin Franklin: "A republic, if you can keep it." Okay, and when he compares our Constitution to Russia's, he says Russia's it was actually better than ours. Their Bill of Rights is better than ours, but our framers would describe it as a parchment guarantee, words on paper. Okay, and that's where ours seems to be going. Words on paper. When you got Democrats describing not a constitutional republic, but a democracy, we're becoming words on paper with our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. So I'll drop it there. When you get a chance, watch that video. It's only 17 minutes, but he perfectly goes through the Federalist Papers and our Constitution as it relates to others, and it's beautiful. And I'll drop it there. Thank you.
Well, when they have the media on their side, so to speak, regarding referring to our country as a democracy, you watch virtually every single TV show and film, and they all refer to our country as a democracy. So it's just ridiculous. Anyway, go again to hands. I'm just getting into the.
Okay, let's go with Apothecary next.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to pull my hand down and put it back up in just a second. I got sidetracked. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Okay, let's go to Minnie was next.
Thanks. So I raised my hand during the campaign finance discussion, but John raised a good point that I want to address first. And yeah, I haven't listened to the video that he's referring to, so I'm sorry if this is just completely off topic to your point. But the U.S. Constitution is the shortest constitution, and it's only words on paper if you mean that in a bad way because of bad judges. I think our Constitution is the best, most forward thinking, most malleable, like this is the framework that we want our society to have. We're not going to go into all of the ins and outs of, what happens in this situation and what happens in that situation. That's not what the framers were trying to do. They were trying to create the bones of the society that we want, and then let things kind of play out on their own. And whether that was wise or not, I think it was, but now living in 2026, we have to kind of live with some of the consequences of that. And it lets bad judges do bad things, which is what, you know, with what otherwise is supposed to be a very sound document that creates a very sound society. So I understand what you're saying, and I will watch that video and see what they have to say about this. But those are my thoughts there. When it comes to the campaign finance issue in Maine, we're talking about like, oh, you all of these races, you have to just like throw money into it. Like, what's the alternative? And this isn't me, being argumentative. That I'm actually asking, how else do we run campaigns? Like, if on the one hand you want the grassroots, contenders to kind of come out of nowhere and be the people that are not career politicians. Like, we want those people to run and we want them to be successful because the non-politicians are the ones that, at least in my mind, I believe they're probably more trustworthy. They're probably not on the take. Like, they're probably not corrupt yet. Like, I want those people to have a shot. On the other hand, we're kind of complicit in this, campaign finance scheme of, where the money goes, those are the ones that win. And, like sheep, we all, listen to ads, and they're, the reason why this structure has worked for as long as it has is because we also will vote for the ones who, we vote for name recognition and all of that. So I want to ask the group, the co-host, and the I think the speaker who mentioned that issue dropped down. But how do we balance, the campaign finance piece of this with the like integrity, we want the best person for the job piece of it?
Well, I think what your question is, like, with with finances with me. All right. So when we had the governor race here in New Jersey, one of the candidates, who I, whether he would have won or not, I thought he was really good, but he wasn't given a shot because he needed to have so much money in his account in order to even get on the ticket, which he couldn't raise that money. So there's a lot of evidence that has shown people that have gotten into office have been given money by a lot of big either corporations or personal donations just because they want to get that person into office. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the best person for the job. And then people like us, when we have to vote Republican or Democrat because you pick a party, sometimes people are not picking or are voting for that person just because they have that R or that D behind their name. So that's what I was saying. When you're running for these offices, yeah, you should be able to have some campaign donations, but not just because somebody thinks that you're the best pick for that, and that's who we're going to be left with, is the person that has the most money. And I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's what the framers had in mind when people ran for these offices. It's just somebody that got all this money from whoever they got the money from to run for the offices. I don't know if that's the question you were asking, but that's what I was trying to say.
I think what you're talking about is the reality. My question is, like, that is the current, I say solution. I don't mean that because solution insinuates it's a good thing, but like, that is the current solution that as a society we have come, that's it's just the truth. Like, that's what happens. Whoever has the most money usually wins in any race for, any reason. It's not who has the best ideas, it's who has the best the most money. How do we change that? Like, how do we change the script? And I don't know that the answer.
It's a good question, and somebody else might be able to answer that one. I don't know either, but it needs to change, because just because you can raise the most money doesn't mean that you should be sitting in that seat and have that kind of authority and make the decisions for everybody else. because, I think there's a lot more qualified people out there. And if they can't raise those funds, then, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, I'm sure Take Back will probably have a good answer, but I'm going to go with Susan first and then Take Back and then Misty.
Can I just put a pause on this for 2 seconds? I just want to say, if you haven't, hang on, if you haven't already, can you please go down to the purple bubble and like and share the space? Truth is also having connection issues, so if the space drops, please come find us again. He will reopen it. Just give us a minute. Go ahead, Susan.
Thanks, Nika. Good morning, my fellow patriots. You know, being from Massachusetts, but now living in Florida for the last 16 years, I can honestly tell you that there is so much fraud, voting fraud in New England. It's not funny. Now, Elizabeth Warren won by 664,000 votes. Gee,